All right, students, we're ready to summarize an article. Before you begin, you're going to need to get from me a giant Post-it note. Go ahead and go grab one. You should pause the video while you go do this. The first thing you're going to do is look at your Newsella article and find your main idea that you wrote. Mine says the NFL changed its policy on domestic violence because of this video. The next thing I want you to do is put your name up at the top left corner of your Post-it note, and we're going to start our summary. So you know every good paragraph begins with an indentation. Now we're going to start this summary with the phrase, in the article. And then I want you to write down the title of your article. My title was Ravens Cut Rice After Video Surfaces, NFL Suspends Him Indefinitely. You need to look at the title of your article and write your article title down here. So at this point in the video, I realize that I forgot to put quotation marks around the title of my article. I can't believe I forgot to do that. This is actually what it should look like. Make sure you put your quotation marks around the title of your article because that's the correct thing to do. Okay, let's continue. The next thing I want you to do is write the phrase, I learned, and then follow it up with the main idea you wrote on your Newsella article. Mine says right now, in the article, Ravens Cut Rice After Video Surfaces, NFL Suspends Him Indefinitely, I learned that the NFL changed its policy on domestic violence because of this video. Now that you've told us the main idea, the next thing you're going to do is tell about the other important things you remember from your article. If you haven't had a chance to read your article recently, say within the last hour, you probably need to go back and skim over all of your annotations. That's what I ended up doing because it's actually been more than 24 hours since I read the Ray Rice article. So I started going back and looking at some of my annotations, and then copying down what I found to be interesting from the article. I wanted to give my reader the most important information, not just the stuff that I thought was interesting, but the stuff that I thought made it truly an important, interesting story. So, this was the next section that I put. On the video, Rice was shown to have hit his fiancée. Later, they were married. Then, as I moved along and looked at some of the rest of my annotations, I saw the part about where we had talked about how the Ravens had cut him right away. So then I said, his team, the Ravens, cut him hours after watching the video. You'll continue to go back and forth between your Newsella article and your Post-it note, telling what you think to be the most important details from this article. Now here's the tricky part. As you get closer to the bottom of the Post-it note, you're going to run out of room. So you have to make sure you get your most important details in on the Post-it note before you finish. You are not allowed to move on to the back. You are not allowed to get another Post-it note. It has to be finished all on this side. Consequently, that means that I ended up cramming some information into the bottom of my Post-it note here so I could get in my last most important detail. By the time I was done with my summary, here's what it said. In the article, Ravens Cut Rice After Video Surfaces, NFL Suspends Him Indefinitely, I learned that the NFL changed its policy on domestic violence because of this video. On the video, Rice was shown to have hit his fiancée. Later, they were married. His team, the Ravens, cut him hours after watching the video. The NFL, specifically Roger Goodell, received criticism for not being harsh enough in Rice's punishment, so they increased their first-time offender punishment to 6 games in a 16-game season. Now that I'm finished with my paragraph, it's my job to go back over, reread it, and make sure that it says what I want it to say, and that it has all the details in it that I think are important. I also use this opportunity to make some fix-ups, like the quotation marks. Now that you're done with step 1, you're ready to see me for step 2.